Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I am once again playing the Tier 8 Russian aircraft carrier Pobeda. And in this game I am squaring off against a red team that has a Hornet. Now the Hornet is, from what I understand, a pretty decent aircraft carrier. It's not a ship that I have. It is my impression, and if we have anybody watching this is a really conversant in CVs in the game, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the strengths of the US CV line is that all of your aircraft are roughly equally effective. Your rockets, your torpedoes, and your bombs. Other lines seem to have one that is more effective than the others. In the Russian line, it seems like the skip bombers are your strength. In the German line, it seems like AP bombs are the strength, or AP rockets. Japanese line, torpedoes. You get the idea. And I'm just trying to do some spotting, and I happen to go nose in just as I spot the Brisbane. So I'm going to try and make the drop and then just get out of there. And it takes so long for the rockets to fire. And this is something you have to get used to with each of your ships. So we'll go back here. See this timer. I only have that amount of time to make the shot. And then it takes a while for the shot to actually happen. And as a result, I shoot right over the top of him. So you have to get used to the lengths of time for your weapons to arm and fire from the point where you click the button. And obviously, I still have a long way to go in that regard. Now, I'm not crazy about this mode at all. In fact, I really don't like this game mode. Airship escort. You know, your mileage may vary. You might really like it. This is not a personal indictment of anybody who likes this game mode. It just isn't one that I care for. I think it kind of unnaturally forces ships to do things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. And especially with players who are relatively inexperienced. I think it contributes overall, this is just my opinion, I think it contributes overall to even more already we have a lot of lopsided blowout games, but I think this game mode contributes to that and makes that happen maybe even more. Now, not in every case, obviously, in this case I don't think that happened, but it seems to happen a lot in this game mode. Now, Shikishima, this was a surprise to me. Very effective AA against my aircraft. I think I tried to make 2 drops and then decided, no, that's just not going to happen. Now you may have heard people say, if I'm in a Tier 8 CV, everybody's AA is overpowering. And if you're like me, you may have scoffed at that. But you're going to see that that really is the case. Now there may be ways to mitigate that. I hope to learn them. You can try and stay out of their AA bubble range. You may be able to make some long range drops as we lose our Worcester. Edelweiss 2020 gets sunk by Seehund in the Conqueror. But being a new CV player, I have really not studied enough to know that Shikishima's AA range is X or Y or Z, and that it's most effective in this range. All those things I'm going to have to learn over time. Now, I was thinking about making a run at that Brisbane because he went nose into the island, but I would have to get into the Kremlin's AA, the Conqueror's AA, and his AA. But I do manage to spot the Yager, and I'm pinging him, trying to get him to fire him. Now watch our Kremlin that I'm just flying over right now. I would love to know your opinion. I tried to get him to go back, but no, he's sure that with the strength of the Kremlin armor, he's going to be able to take on half of the red team single-handedly. Never mind that there's a Kremlin on the red team moving up to hit his broadside. Now, one of the things that I learned as I moved these aircraft up here is that the Yager had repositioned. Now, what am I talking about? Well, you know, just a minute ago we saw him here, or maybe 2 minutes ago. But I just made a strike across this direction and he wasn't there, which tells me he's probably moved out here. He's probably counting on his torpedoes and everybody else's guns, and there are his torpedoes right there, to finish this, what I consider foolish YOLO rush into the middle by our Kremlin. And I think he's probably moved out here. Now, why do I think that? Well, because I played EVs a lot. I have for a lot of years, and that's what I would have done. So my guess is he's probably out here somewhere now. Probably trying to get torpedoes on these guys to prevent this rush that's going to have these guys on the broadside. Can I help with that? Maybe, but I'm gonna hope Salem can pop his radar, and that these guys will use hydro to avoid taking a bunch of damage. But you'll see here in a minute. I think I put something in the chat like he's going to eat you guys going around that corner. There goes our Kremlin. And I'm going to make one more run at the Shikishima, but you know, I should have just dropped here. I'm just losing aircraft like crazy.
All stations, concentrate
and
on the target.
Our guys are just getting battered on that corner. And you can see in the chat our Kremlin's comment, and then the red team fairly gently, I think, tells them, no, your team was right to tell you to get back. That was nuts. Our Kremlin that is remaining manages to finish off that Shikishima, and I'm still rubbing dirt in the bruises that I got from losing so many aircraft to the Shikishima. See the conversation going on in the chat box. I was literally cracking up a little bit reading that. The player with the Kremlin that just thinks, you know, I got to this super powerful ship, so I should be able to take on anything. And then this guy, Nautilus, he summed it up very nicely there. So what am I doing here? Well, you know, it is airship escort, right? I'm trying to provide vision, so maybe our USS Black can get his destroyer into this little green circle. You can see now that I've gone this way, he does appear to be moving into this area. If I move over the red circle, I'm going to be contending with Napoli's AA and Tirpitz's AA, if I get any closer, and now Brisbane. So at this point I just decide, you know what, I've got to make a drop from long range and just get out of here, save what aircraft I can. Now I'm looking at this, okay? And you'll see my comment here in just a second about, I think that Yager is going to eat you guys. They're all bunched up around this corner. And while I appreciate the fact that they're trying to get angles on all these guys that are stopping our team here, it was, I guess, not unexpectedly, kind of clumsily done. And as a result, the Yager was able to do a lot of damage. Now, as it turns out, I know the Yager player, and we lose our Salem to right on target in the Yager. Now, right on target, you've probably seen some of his videos here, some of them in the Yager. He's very good with that ship. And, you know, realizing that it's him right around this time somewhere in the game, I'm realizing I got to get vision on him. But I don't want to leave our destroyer totally alone. So I'm going to make one more push here into the center to dissuade the red ships. Because as it stands right now, they have a 6-second advantage over us because the Tirpitz is in the red circle. You can see that our destroyer is now in the green circle. So I don't have to fly right over everybody, and they're right on target's got more torpedoes coming in, and yeah, we lose our Plymouth to the Kremlin, and our Kremlin to right on target's Yager, and I'm going to make this drop, trying to get them high enough to be able to do some damage to the superstructure. I need to reposition here. I do start a fire, 5,700 damage. You know, we're almost 10 minutes into the game. I've done 13,000 damage. It's pretty pathetic. But that Tier 10 AA, absolutely devastating against Tier 8 CV. The aircraft at Tier 8 just can't handle that kind of anti-aircraft fire. And again, I know there are probably ways to get around that at least a little by not getting too close and making your drops from farther out. All that stuff takes practice. And at this point, I'm really just focused on, I need to spot that destroyer for my team. Those are Megami Torps. He's got to be out here. I know he's got to be. So can't see him. We lose our Nebraska. We're down to 5 ships. Yeah, it's ugly. All right, so I didn't spot the Yager. I still think he's out here, but I'm going to go ahead and make this drop on the Conqueror. He's getting low on HP, and because Conqueror has a super heal, I'm going to try and help our Bayard who's out there. Our Bayard just keeps throwing shots into him. You can see he turned into my Torps, which is going to show broadside to Bayard. Now, Bayard doesn't have huge alpha potential, but he puts out shots so fast, he may be able to overwhelm Conqueror. And he's doing a great job, our Bayard, of avoiding damage himself. Now I'm detected. Now what does that tell me? Well, I'm detected, and that tells me what is there that can detect me. We know all these guys are too far away, right? So that tells me Yager's here. He can't be here. He's got to be somewhere like just inside this circle. That's 10 kilometers. So the circle was right around here when he got detected, or when I got detected, and that tells me that I'm detected by the Yager. He's the only one that could be out here. He can't be here, or he'd be surface spotted by Bayard. That tells me he's here, because if he was here, he still wouldn't be able to see me because of the island. So I know Yager is right here, and so I react accordingly. I'm pinging, I'm saying he's got to be in here somewhere, guys, and there he is. Now I'm not going to worry about making a drop. What I am going to worry about is keeping him spotted. His AA is not going to be able to do much to me. That may be the only ship on the red team that can't shred my aircraft. So I drop the fighter just to help spread whatever damage he does out, so it's not all on my attack aircraft. And I'm just going to stay focused on keeping him lit. You can see Bayard's able to get the shots on him. We've got Black able to get shots on him. Kurfürst is able to get shots on him. And right on target, you played a solid game, brother. I had to keep you spotted for my team. And that's it for right on target in the Yager, who did take out 2 of our ships. So with that, we eliminate a really big threat. It's a very effective ship and a very good player, and we are able to secure the win on the arrival of our airship. So kudos to my team, in particular, I think to our Black, who when our airship was here and the circle was here, he found a way to get in that circle, and that gave us a little bit of an edge, and I think helped contribute to the win. My own contributions, minimal, right? Spotting was probably the biggest contribution I made. 24,000 damage is almost nothing, really. I landed 7 rockets, 1 torpedo, 8 bombs, skip bombs, started a fire, and spotted 11 ships. Now, what does that do for me in terms of on the scoreboard? I'm bottom tier, so of course you get a little bit more XP when you're bottom tier. I feel like, did I do a horrible job? I, you know, your opinion may vary. I don't think I did a horrible job. I'm sure I could have done better if I was really experienced. But I look at what the Hornet did here, no offense to this player, and I feel like, okay, I at least held my own against some solid AA. And if we keep moving forward here, you can see all my damage was focused on 2 ships. I tried to help finish off that Conqueror, and I did manage to make 1 strike on the Monopoly, right? But not a whole lot of damage. 75,000 in spotting damage, and 3 fires started on my spotting. And I feel like that is a contribution, and that is important. In particular, I was able to keep the Yager spotted. Sorry again, right on target. Yager was able to be spotted long enough to finish him off, so he couldn't wreck another one of my teammates. Decent XP, not fantastic, but decent. I hope you enjoyed this. Pobeda is fun to play. Obviously, I have a lot to learn. I hope you got something out of this. If you did and you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.